My girlfriend said, "I'm subtracting my gym membership from my half of rent. I wouldn't need it if you didn't let yourself go." I'd gained 15 pounds after my surgery. I said, "That's fair." Then I calculated every single expense I'd covered for her over 2 years and sent her an invoice for $18,430. Her response when she opened the email: original post. I, 29 male, have been with my girlfriend for a little over 2 years. We moved in together about 18 months ago into my apartment. I've had the lease for 4 years now, and she moved in when things got serious between us. The financial agreement was straightforward. I pay 60% of rent since I make more money. She pays 40%, and we split utilities down the middle. Seemed fair to both of us at the time. Some important context about me and why the next part matters so much. 3 months ago, I had surgery to repair a torn labrum in my shoulder. For those unfamiliar, that's a significant orthopedic procedure. They go in arthroscopically, reattach the torn cartilage to the bone with anchors, and then you're immobilized in a sling for 6 weeks minimum. No lifting anything heavier than a coffee cup with that arm. Physical therapy 3 times a week. The entire recovery process takes roughly 4 to 6 months before you can do any real physical activity or return to normal life. Before the surgery, I was in pretty good shape. Not bodybuilder level or anything, but I worked out regularly at home with dumbbells and a pull-up bar, played recreational basketball with my buddies every Sunday, and stayed generally active. I was around 175 pounds at 5 feet 10 inches, which is solidly healthy for my frame. After 3 months of being essentially immobile, eating more comfort food than usual because I was in genuine pain and couldn't cook properly with one arm, and not being able to exercise at all per doctor's orders, I've gained about 15 pounds. I'm sitting at 190 now, still technically within normal BMI range, but definitely softer than I was. My clothes fit tighter. I got a bit of a gut starting to develop. It's not my ideal body, but it's also completely temporary. My physical therapist cleared me to start light cardio last week, and I'll be back to normal activity levels in another month or 2. My girlfriend has made comments. Little things at first that I try to brush off. "Are you sure you need seconds? Maybe skip dessert tonight? You used to have such nice, defined arms." I try to let it roll off my back because I understood she was used to me looking a certain way, and physical changes can be an adjustment. I figured once I fully recovered and got back in shape, things would naturally return to normal. Then last Tuesday happened. We were sitting at the kitchen table going over our monthly expenses like we always do at the beginning of each month. She pulled out her phone calculator and started punching in numbers, then looked up and said, "So, I'm subtracting my gym membership from my half of the rent this month." I looked up from my own calculations. "What? Why would you do that?" "Because I wouldn't need a gym membership if you hadn't let yourself go. I used to work out at home with you. We do exercises together, motivate each other. Now I can't even look at you without feeling depressed about fitness. So I have to go somewhere else to stay motivated. Technically, my gym membership is your fault." I just stared at her, processing. I had surgery. I literally cannot exercise right now. The doctor specifically told me not to. You could at least watch what you eat. You could do something to maintain yourself. Instead, you just sit there getting fatter every week while I have to spend $65 a month to stay attractive for this relationship. It's only fair you cover that cost. $65 a month. She wanted to deduct $65 from her share of rent because I gained 15 pounds while recovering from a necessary medical procedure. Something clicked in my brain at that moment. Not anger exactly, more like sudden clarity. Like finally seeing a picture that had been blurry around the edges for a long time. I said, "You know what? That's completely fair." She looked genuinely surprised. "Really? You agree?" "Yeah, absolutely. If we're going to start accounting for things this way, that logic is totally fair. Just let me do some calculations of my own first." She shrugged dismissively. "Whatever. I'm going to bed. We can settle up tomorrow." I didn't go to bed. I stayed up until 2 a.m. that night, going through every single financial record I had, every credit card statement from the past 2 years, every Venmo and PayPal transaction, every receipt I'd save in my email. I'm somewhat of a financial nerd. I track all my expenses in a detailed spreadsheet already, so this process wasn't as difficult as it might sound for someone else. I calculated every single expense I had covered for her over 2 years that wasn't part of our agreed-upon rent and utility split. Groceries beyond her fair half for $1,280. She has expensive taste. Organic everything, high-end Greek yogurt brands, those $8 artisanal kombucha bottles, specialty items I never ate. Restaurant meals I paid for entirely. $3,150. We usually split checks, but special occasions, and I forgot my wallet at home. And you can get this one, I'll get the next, added up significantly. Her portion of streaming services she uses daily, but I pay for $890. Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Spotify Premium. All subscriptions on my credit cards that she uses constantly. Gas money for trips taken in my car. $1,640. We took 3 long road trips together over 2 years. She never once offered a chip in for gas. Her phone bill for 8 months when she was between jobs, $720. I covered her entire cell phone bill while she was unemployed. Clothes and accessories I bought her as gifts, $2,350. Birthday presents, Christmas gifts, anniversary gifts, random. I saw this and thought of you purchases. Toiletries and household items she uses, but I purchase. $1,180. Fancy shampoos, face creams, cleaning supplies. I do most of the shopping. Concert tickets, movie tickets, event admissions. $1,670. Entertainment expenses where I paid for both of us. Furniture she selected for the apartment that I paid for entirely. $2,100. She wanted a new couch and coffee table 6 months after moving in. I bought them because she said they'd make the place feel like ours. Miscellaneous expenses, $450. Her parking tickets I paid, her AAA membership she asked me to add her to, random things here and there. Grand total, $18,430. I formatted everything into a professional-looking invoice. Use an actual invoice template I found online. Listed every category with detailed subtotals. Added specific dates where I could find them. Made it look exactly like something you'd receive from a contractor or service provider. At the bottom, I wrote, per your stated logic that personal expenses caused by one partner's choices or condition should be billed to the other partner. Please find attached an itemized accounting of expenses I have covered on your behalf over the duration of our relationship. Payment due within 30 days. We can discuss a payment plan if the total amount presents a hardship. Wednesday morning, I sent it to her personal email. I was sitting at my desk at work when she opened it. I know exactly when she read it because my phone immediately exploded with text messages. What the hell is this? This is a joke, right? You're seriously sending me a bill for being in a relationship? I'm your girlfriend, not your tenant or your client. This is literally financial abuse. My mother is definitely going to hear about this. Call me right now. I didn't call her. I waited a few minutes, then texted back calmly. I thought we were itemizing expenses that one partner caused the other to incur. That was your idea. I was just being thorough with the accounting. Let me know how you'd like to proceed with payment. She didn't respond after that. When I got home from work that evening, her car was gone from its usual spot. She'd packed a bag and left the apartment. There was a handwritten note on the kitchen counter that said, I can't believe you would do something this cruel to me. I'm staying at my sister's until you apologize and delete that disgusting email. You should be deeply ashamed of yourself. Reddit, I know I'm probably never going to see $18,000 from her. That was never really the point. The point was that she wanted to nickel and dime me over a gym membership because I had the audacity to gain some weight while recovering from shoulder surgery. She wanted me to financially subsidize her fitness routine because apparently looking at my post-surgery body was too demotivating for her. So I showed her what actual thorough accounting looks like when you apply her logic consistently. Am I the jerk here? Part of me genuinely feels like I went nuclear over something relatively small. But another part of me thinks that if she can't handle her own logic being applied back to her, maybe that says something important about the logic itself. Update 1, 4 days later. This situation has evolved in ways I didn't fully anticipate. Thank you to everyone who commented on the original post. I genuinely needed the reality check, both from people who supported my response and people who thought I went too far. Here's what's happened since Wednesday. My girlfriend stayed at her sister's place for 2 full nights after storming out. During that time, I received approximately 30 text messages from her, all variations on the same themes. How unreasonable I was being, how normal healthy couples don't keep score like accountants, and how I was weaponizing finances against her to be cruel. The irony of her accusing me of keeping score after she literally tried to dock her rent contribution over my post-surgery weight gain was apparently completely lost on her. Friday evening, she came back to the apartment unannounced. I wasn't expecting her. I got home from work, and she was just sitting on the couch, the $1,400 couch I paid for, but who's counting at this point? Arms crossed, jaw set, clearly prepared for confrontation. Her, we need to talk about this invoice situation right now. Me? Okay. What specifically do you want to discuss? Her, you need to delete it immediately. It's insulting and degrading, and I absolutely refuse to be treated like some kind of debtor in my own relationship. Me, I'll delete it when you agree that your gym membership isn't my financial responsibility to cover. Her, that's completely different. You gaining all this weight directly affects me. It affects my physical attraction to you. It affects my motivation to stay fit. I have to look at you every single day. Me, and you eating organic quinoa and $12 specialty salads affects my grocery budget. You using my Netflix and HBO accounts affects my subscription costs. You riding in my car on trips we took together affects my gas expenses. If your gym membership is somehow my fault because of how my body looks right now, then logically all those things are your fault because of choices you made. Her, that is not the same thing at all, and you know it. Me, you're absolutely right. It's not the same. My shoulder surgery was medically necessary. I couldn't function without it. Your kombucha habit and organic grocery preferences are lifestyle choices. She stood up abruptly from the couch. I genuinely cannot believe you're being this incredibly petty over this. Me, I'm being exactly as petty as you were when you tried to deduct gym costs from rent because of my medical recovery. I'm just significantly better at math than you are. She grabbed her purse and stormed toward the door, slammed it so hard behind her that my neighbor across the hall actually came out to check if everything was okay. I told him it was fine, just a disagreement. Saturday, things escalated significantly. Her mother called me. I've always maintained an okay relationship with her mom. Pleasant enough, surface level, holiday dinners, and occasional small talk. But this phone call was clearly not a social check-in. Her mom, I understand there's been some kind of financial disagreement between you and my daughter. Me, that's one way to characterize it, yes. Her mom, she told me you sent her an invoice for $18,000. That's absolutely outrageous and completely inappropriate. Me, did she explain to you why I sent it? Her mom, she mentioned you were upset about something minor and overreacted dramatically. Me, she tried to deduct $65 from her rent because I gained 15 pounds after my shoulder surgery. She said my appearance was costing her money in gym memberships. She literally said she wouldn't need to pay for a gym if I hadn't let myself go. Dead silence on the phone line. Her mom, she said, what exactly? Me, she said she wouldn't need a gym membership if I hadn't let myself go while recovering from surgery. That looking at my body was too demotivating. So she was subtracting the gym cost from what she contributes to rent. The invoice was my response to that logic. If she can bill me for expenses she considers my fault, I can bill her for expenses I've covered that weren't technically my responsibility. More silence. Her mom, I wasn't aware of that particular part of the story. Me, I'm not surprised she left that out. Her mom didn't have much to say after that. Just a quiet, I'll speak with her about this, and then she hung up. Sunday was quiet. My girlfriend remained at her sister's place. Didn't come by the apartment, didn't text, nothing. I used the unexpected solitude to do some actual thinking about our relationship. Reflection I probably should have done a long time ago. Here's what I realized during that quiet Sunday. This behavior isn't new. The gym membership comment was just the most blatant, explicit version of something that's been happening gradually for 2 entire years. Every time we went out to dinner, the default assumption was that I would cover the bill unless specifically discussed otherwise. If she did pay for something, it was treated as a special, generous gesture that I should be vocally grateful for. When we split expenses, she'd consistently round down for her portion and round up for mine. When she wanted something expensive for the apartment, it magically became our purchase that I ended up funding. When I wanted something for myself, it was clearly my expense from my personal money. I've been quietly subsidizing her lifestyle for 2 years and telling myself it was just generosity, just being a good partner. But genuine generosity is given freely without expectation. What I was providing was expected, demanded, assumed. And then I get treated like a financial burden because I gained 15 pounds recovering from necessary surgery. Monday morning, I made a decision. I texted her, "We need to have a real conversation tonight. Come to the apartment at 7. She responded, "Fine. Be ready to apologize for that." Invoice. She showed up at 7:15, already making me wait, a small power move. Her, "I'm here. What exactly did you want to say to me?" Me, "I've been thinking about this situation very carefully over the past few days." The invoice itself was obviously extreme, and I want to be clear, I'm not actually expecting you to pay me $18,000. Her face relaxed noticeably. She thought she was about to win this argument. Me, but creating that invoice made me realize something important. I've been financially carrying a disproportionate amount of this relationship without really acknowledging it to myself. The gym membership comment wasn't the core problem. It was a symptom of a much bigger underlying issue. Her, "What issue exactly?" Me, "You see me primarily as a provider, not as an equal partner. You expect me to cover things for you as a baseline, and when I gain a little weight from a medical procedure, suddenly I'm not holding up my end of some unspoken bargain you had in your head." Her, "That is absolutely not what I..." Me, "Please let me finish. I think we have fundamentally different views of how this relationship should work. You think I owe you a certain standard of lifestyle and physical appearance. I think relationships are supposed to be about mutual support, especially during difficult times. Like, for example, recovering from surgery." Her, "So what exactly are you saying here?" Me, "I'm saying this relationship isn't working anymore. I want you to move out of the apartment." Her face cycled through emotions rapidly, annoyed to shocked to confused to angry in about 3 seconds. Her, "You're breaking up with me? Over $65. Me, "I'm breaking up with you because you looked at me recovering from surgery and saw a financial inconvenience to yourself. That's not something I can just forget or move past." She started crying. Not genuine sobbing, more like strategic tears. The kind that have successfully worked on me many times before. "You can't do this to me. I don't have anywhere to go right now. My sister's apartment is tiny. I absolutely cannot afford my own place on my current salary." Me, "You have 30 days. That's standard legal notice for ending a living arrangement. I'm confident you'll figure something out." Her, "This is completely insane. Over a gym membership. You're throwing away 2 entire years of our relationship." Me, "You threw it away when you decided my health recovery was a burden on you that you deserve compensation for." She left the apartment without saying another word. Update 2, 12 days later. Quick update on where things stand, because people have been asking. The 30-day notice period is ongoing. She has approximately 18 days remaining. Here's how things have developed. Days 1 to 3 after the breakup conversation, complete radio silence. She stayed at her sister's place the entire time. Didn't return to the apartment to get anything. Didn't text me. Total absence of communication. Day 4. She showed up with her sister to collect some clothes and basic toiletries. I made sure not to be home. I stayed at a friend's place for a few hours. She texted me afterwards saying she couldn't believe I was being so cold and distant. Day 5. Her sister texted me directly for the first time ever. Her sister, "I think you're making a mistake, but I respect that it's your decision to make. I want you to know she's really struggling with this emotionally." Me, "I appreciate you reaching out, but she told me my post-surgery weight gain was costing her money and should be deducted from rent. I can't just pretend that didn't happen." Her sister, "I know. She told me what she said. It was a really awful thing to say. I just think sometimes people say stupid things they don't fully mean, and maybe this situation can still be repaired." Me, "Some things can't be repaired. Some comments reveal who a person fundamentally is." She didn't respond after that. I genuinely felt bad. Her sister has always been decent to me and isn't responsible for any of this. But I wasn't going to let family pressure change my decision. Day 7. Things got particularly interesting. My girlfriend texted me asking if we could sit down and talk like mature adults about the entire situation. I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop. Neutral public territory seemed appropriate. She arrived looking tired, but carefully put together. She'd clearly rehearsed what she wanted to say. I've been doing a lot of genuine reflection over the past week. Me? Okay. I realize now that what I said about the gym membership was genuinely hurtful. About your weight and my motivation. I was stressed about money stuff, and I took it out on you in a really crappy, unfair way. This was closer to an actual apology than I'd expected from her. I waited to hear more. But I also think you overreacted massively. The invoice thing was deeply humiliating. You essentially told me that our entire relationship has been transactional to you this whole time. Me? No. You told me it was transactional. The moment you try to deduct money from your rent contribution because of my physical appearance. I just responded using your exact same logic. That's not really okay. Look, what if we just completely reset? Forget the invoice ever happened. Forget the gym membership comment. Go back to how things were before all this. Me, how things were before is precisely the problem. I've been paying for most things while you contributed the minimum. And then you complained when I couldn't maintain some physical standard you had in your head. That's not a relationship dynamic I want to go back to. I'm not some gold digger. I do contribute to this relationship. Me, you pay 40% of rent and exactly half of utilities. That's it. Everything else, groceries, entertainment, travel, gifts, subscriptions, furniture, has been heavily tilted toward me covering the costs. That arrangement might be acceptable if there was genuine gratitude or meaningful reciprocation in other ways. But instead I got told I was letting myself go 3 months after surgery. She went quiet for a long moment. So there's genuinely nothing I can say to fix this? Me, I honestly don't think so. Not because I hate you. I just don't think you see me as an actual person. You see me as someone who provides a certain lifestyle and maintains a certain appearance. When I couldn't maintain the appearance part temporarily, you literally tried to bill me for it. That's completely unfair. Me, it's exactly what happened. Those were your words. She got up and left the coffee shop without finishing her drink. Day 10. She came by the apartment to pack more of her belongings. I was there this time. She was civil throughout, mostly silent. Packed boxes efficiently, didn't engage in much conversation. At one point while wrapping dishes, she stopped and said, "I'm not a bad person." Me, I never claimed you were a bad person. But you're not the right person for me. Because I made one stupid comment? Me, because of what that comment revealed about how you view me and what you expect from me. I'm not willing to spend my life feeling like I have to constantly earn your attraction by maintaining a certain weight while recovering from medical procedures. Whatever. I'm completely done trying to explain myself to someone who refuses to listen to reason. She finished packing her boxes and left without another word. That was 2 days ago. She has about 18 days remaining on the 30-day notice. Her sister has apparently been helping her search for affordable apartments in the area. The financial separation has been surprisingly uncomplicated. Since we never combined our finances or bank accounts, thank God for that, there's really no messy untangling required. The furniture she picked out that I paid for entirely, it stays with me. Her name isn't on any of it. I have all the receipts. She actually asked about getting reimbursed for the furniture since she chose it for the apartment and never would have selected those pieces if she knew the relationship would end. I told her that's not how purchasing things works. She's welcome to take anything she actually paid for herself. Everything else stays in my apartment. She didn't have a response to that logic. Final update, 3 weeks later. She's officially moved out. The move happened last Thursday. She found a small 1-bedroom apartment about 20 minutes away from mine. Her parents ended up helping with the first month's rent and security deposit. I know this because her mom texted me afterwards saying she hoped I was satisfied with how things ultimately turned out. I didn't respond to that. Here's how the final week played out. She tried one more time to reconcile. Showed up at my door Tuesday evening without any warning. Said she had real time to deeply think about everything, and she finally understood why I was so hurt by what happened. She claimed she was willing to start completely fresh and be much better about finances and appreciation. I asked her one simple question. Do you actually believe what you said was wrong? Or do you think it was wrong because of the consequences it caused? She didn't answer immediately. That hesitation told me everything I needed to know. Does the distinction really matter? I'm willing to change my behavior going forward. Me, it matters enormously to me. Because if you only think it was wrong because you're losing the apartment and the relationship, you'll probably do something similar again. You'll just be more careful about it next time. You really think that little of me after 2 years? Me, I think you showed me exactly who you are. I'm choosing to believe what you showed me. She left angry. Thursday, the actual move-out day, was surprisingly uneventful. She'd rented a small moving truck. Her sister and one of her friends helped carry boxes and furniture down to the street. I stayed in my bedroom for most of the process, not to be petty or avoid her, just to make the situation easier and less awkward for everyone involved. Before she left for the last time, she knocked on my bedroom door. I'm completely done. Everything's out. Me? Okay. Do you have the keys? She handed over both the main door key and the mailbox key. I need you to understand something before I go. I didn't do anything fundamentally wrong by wanting to feel attracted to my partner. Me, you're absolutely right about that. Wanting attraction is completely normal. That's not what any of this was about. Then what exactly was it about? Because honestly, I still don't fully understand what happened here. Me, it was about you looking at my temporary medical recovery and seeing it as a burden on you that deserved financial compensation. It was about you believing you were entitled to deduct money because my body wasn't meeting your standards while I was healing from surgery. It was about 2 years of me quietly covering the majority of expenses while you contributed minimally, only to have you complain when I couldn't maintain my end of some imaginary transaction. I don't know how to explain it more clearly than that. I cover things too. It wasn't completely one-sided. Me, you paid 40% of rent on an apartment that's solely in my name. You paid exactly half of utilities. Everything else, groceries, dining out, entertainment, travel, gifts, streaming subscriptions, I covered the vast majority. That's not an equal partnership. That's me subsidizing your lifestyle. You never said anything about it. You just paid for things and then secretly kept a detailed spreadsheet like some kind of accountant waiting to ambush me. Me, I didn't need to say anything until you tried to dock your rent because of my weight. That's the moment it became crystal clear that in your mind, I owe you a certain standard. And when I temporarily couldn't provide it during recovery, I became a liability instead of a partner. She shook her head slowly. You're going to end up completely alone with this attitude. I didn't respond to that. She turned and walked out, closed the door behind her. That was the end. The apartment is noticeably quiet now. Emptier, obviously. She took all her personal belongings, which represented maybe 30% of the furniture and decorations. I'll need to buy some replacement items eventually. But there's also this unexpected sense of space, breathing room, like I've been holding tension in my body for 2 years and can finally release it. I've started exercising again, carefully. Physical therapy officially cleared me for cardio 2 weeks ago, and I've been doing stationary bike sessions and gentle stretching. My shoulder still aches sometimes, especially in the mornings, but it's steadily improving. The 15 pounds will come off eventually now that I can move again. Or maybe they won't come off completely. Either way, it's my body and nobody else's business. My buddy asked me the other night if I had any regrets about sending that invoice. Like, was it too harsh? Did I feel guilty about it? I thought about his question seriously and honestly. The answer is no. The invoice was never about trying to collect $18,000 from her. It was about holding up a mirror, showing her what her own keeping score logic actually looks like when applied consistently and thoroughly. She wanted to bill me $65 for her gym membership because of my post-surgery appearance. Fine. Here's what that exact same logic looks like when extended to everything she benefited from. She didn't like what she saw reflected back at her, but that's not my problem anymore. For anyone reading this who finds themselves in a similar situation, we are constantly paying more, contributing more, giving more, and then being told you're still somehow not enough. Keep track of what you're actually contributing. Not because you're planning to invoice anyone, but because you deserve to understand what you're providing. And if someone looks at your medical recovery and sees an expense to deduct, that tells you absolutely everything you need to know about how they truly view you. I'm not bitter. I'm not seeking revenge or vindication. I'm just completely done subsidizing someone who saw me as a lifestyle provider rather than a human being deserving of compassion during a difficult time. The apartment is mine again. My shoulder recovery is progressing well. And I have a crystal clear understanding now of what I will and won't accept in my next relationship. That clarity is worth significantly more than $18,430.